in their response.
But they were
to
assuming that you were supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. I got put out the group text.
I think that's
Okay. All right. Welcome back to another episode of The Real Teachers of Atlanta. Woohoo! Woo woo! Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us at all social media platforms at Real Teachers of Atlanta, spelled all the way out, ATLANTA. So today's episode, we are going to be discussing teacher bare minimum. And so we'll just dive into it.
Let's get into
Ready?
it.
So I'll kind of just start off with explaining, I guess the best way I can, what teacher bare minimum is. And so teacher bare minimum, kind of in a nutshell, is only doing what you were contractually obligated to do. Nothing more, nothing less, just working your contracted time, doing only those things that are required in order for you to check all the boxes, and that's it. And letting that be enough. How y'all feel about that?
I think with any job, you should do that. Of course, you don't do half work. I mean,
Sure.
if you're hired to do a job, then you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. And I think that's what we've all done, and we've also done above that.
But that's not included in teacher bare minimum.
No, it's not. No, it isn't. But when you're involving students and them having issues at home, like by default, you're a therapist, hairstylist, you're a counselor, you're a referee sometimes. You're always doing more than what's asked for you to do. I do science, so I'm contracted to teach science. But of course, I've done more, and it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple. I don't mind saying no.
I don't always advocate for myself like Jordan does. So for me, even still, I don't think that I can do the bare minimum. Is that what it is? Teacher bare minimum.
Doing what you're, yeah.
Because I don't think as a teacher we're ever going to do the bare minimum. So
You're here. We're assuming you're not doing anything, so we need you over here. So we assume that you're supposed to go over here and teach these 4 classes with 30, 40 kids in them. And it's like, no, I have a class or I have a group of students that I'm working with. I can't do that. That means you're going to have to find someone else to do it.
They got to figure it out.
And you're going to have to figure it out. And some people may not like that, but I think that you have to set those boundaries.
Absolutely.
because that's more than bare minimum.
Right.
It's not what you're obligated to do. You're not required to do that.
No.
And I think that's the idea. Can you say yes? Yes. Do you have to say yes? No.
So who is like looking, like who's finding it a problem if we're not coming to work doing what we're just contracted to do? Like, where is the issue in that? Like
a lot. So teachers have started to push back. We already are seeing that with the teacher shortage. With now there's with the sub shortage. With teachers literally with the mass exodus. We've talked about that. Where they're just leaving. They're tired. They're retiring 15 years early, 10 years early, they don't care. They're leaving right now. Right. They ain't even, and colleges are literally having to shut down their teacher preparatory programs because there's not enough students in those programs. It's supported. Like, it's becoming a really big problem. And so with that, people are saying, well, when you become a teacher, we've seen these type of comments on our social media platforms. I know I have on my TikTok for sure. You know what you signed up for. You know, when you became a teacher, you signed up to do this. Like you're saying, why you become a hairdresser and a therapist, you signed up to be that. No, I didn't.
Well, it's some teachers that like these added responsibilities.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But wait.
Absolutely love it. But what I'm saying is, so we give like certain teachers the responsibility of taking on the 30-some kids, becoming that teacher. If she's a special education teacher, she has her caseload. And then you're pulling her to go be responsible for another set of kids, right? And then there's the teacher that you may allow to do some things that teacher may want to do besides being the babysitter. Because at that point, that's what it's becoming, right?
No, I'm sorry, but it's kind of like feeding the birds. It's like they just keep coming back.
Yeah.
So that's really true. When you find a teacher that's willing to do something, it's like they
wear them out.
they will use you up till it's like
Yes.
you're thrown to the side, like
And then when you say,
prostitute in the street.
right, absolutely. And then when you do this and throw your hands in the air and say, I'm done, I'm quitting, everybody wonders why, right?
What do you like?
What do you mean? I thought you loved it. No,
That's insane.
because now you're using me. Which is you're taking my talent or the thing I'm good at, and now you're using me because it's kind of what's the sound? Get somebody else to do it.
Well, I think we're at a point where teachers, and I'm really proud of us across the country, where we're saying no to certain things. And a lot of people don't like it, but you're not listening. So maybe when you only have the custodians left to teach the students, or if it's just whomever is at the school, maybe then you all will be satisfied. Because we're not trash, we're not slaves, we're educated, very well-spoken, multicultural people who have so much to offer the students, and you treat us like we are nothing, and we're done. We're done.
And have you looked at because I think you even brought you started to go there as well. If you start to look at the average age of teachers now, it's just getting lower and lower and lower. And we typically, I know we shouldn't necessarily equate age to experience, but if your average teacher's age is 30,
right,
we're not staying long enough. Right? Because the average student gets out of college and is ready for teaching at the age of 22, 23. So that means that if your average age, the people that's older, retiring at 50, 60, they're gone already. Because now you're getting really close. You're 7 years away from the people that just got out of college. I remember being in high school. When I graduated high school, it was 2003. My senior year, I had 2 teachers. It was their first year teaching. So at 18, me and my 2 teachers were in the same age group.
That's crazy.
That is crazy that is so common.
I didn't have any young teachers.
I did.
It wasn't a good idea, but that's another.
I agree with that. It's not. I don't think that's a good idea. We can talk about it.
Dark.
Yeah, teachers after dark. Oh, because it happened. Oh, anyways, I'll hold it.
I mean,
I'll hold it because it happened. It is.
Yeah.
But anyway, just to go back to what you were saying, Joy, like, even like teachers like myself that, really don't advocate for themselves. We are starting to do
You're
so.
forced into that, yeah.
Right. And so when we do, we're looking like, oh my God, like you're a bad person now because you're advocating for yourself and you're deciding what's good for you, what's not good for your mental health, what you're going to do, what you're not going to do. You they want us. It's not pushback. It's I'm an adult. I'm a grown up.
That's right.
I'm educated, if not more than you.
That's right.
On the same level as you are.
More experience
and I know what I know what I'm contracted to do.
Yes.
Right.
Anything extra, it's just that anything that I'm doing extra, it's a plus. It's a bonus.
And you should be appreciative, right? I want to ask you this: do you feel like when you advocate for yourself, do you feel like you are treated differently after?
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes.
So, when I worked in corporate prior to teaching, we call that retaliation.
Even by sometimes
it's
by your peers.
Yes, absolutely. But that's retaliation, and it's an HR violation.
Again,
for those of you that didn't know, it's violation
exactly.
of ethics, moral code, and you can report that to your district offices.
Yes, you can.
Just so you know, people treat you different because you said no and you weren't required to do. Yeah, I digress. I'll put links in the bio.
We got an episode for this.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you experience a lot of things when there was a lot of opposition for us when you was doing cheerleading as well.
When I started staying to myself, when I started just being like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do and go home,
People didn't know how to take that well.
it was not
Take it well, but it was like they were shocked.
Yeah, and naturally, I can understand a little bit of it because I'm social, right? I think I appear social and I come off like high energy and all that stuff, but and that's fine, right? But I think for me, I needed to take that step back, like Ty's saying. At some point, I had to take the reins back and say, okay, what's good for me? I gotta just do that.
And were you treated differently?
By my peers, more so even I think than admin. I don't think my administrators treated me any more they weren't worse to me, in my opinion, than they already were. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I think for me, my peers, it was more noticeable the difference in their response.
But they were
to
assuming
me.
that you were supposed to be doing it.
Yeah. I got put out the group chat.
I think that's
Oh.
just.
I got put out the group chat. Yes, I
Not the
did.
group chat.
Ooh, put out the group chat.
Oh.
Folks was leaving the group chat.
Oh.
Because they was tired of me. I was like, I'm not doing that. Because I would say no. And that was honestly, I was saying, no, I'm not doing this. No, I don't mean, I'm not.
And you started seeing some changes when you said no. I remember having that conversation about it. I mean, we don't have to go into detail about
One
it.
day.
But,
One day we'll talk about it.
that's, and I think it's really, a letdown when it comes to your peers. When you decide that this is the bare minimum that I'm doing. I think it's a letdown. I know that we talked about it. I think that you receive things a little differently, where I may have been the person like, oh my God, that was, kind of messed up for a peer to treat you that way, where you didn't show it if it did bother you, in other words.
Do you feel like teachers should kind of be in support of a teacher, of the peer, if they say, I can't do more than what I have to do? Like, these are the things that I can put in my box that I'm willing to do. I'm going to do what my job requires. I'm not going to let the kids suffer. But if I'm only going to do these things and that is all, should other teachers respect that and support that? Like, do you think that they should they feel some type of way, or do they have the right to?
I don't think I don't think it's mandatory for them to do that. I'm not even looking at you crazy if you don't do it, because, that's your prerogative. Everybody, some people are job scared. So, you have to do what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody advocating or fighting for me, unless that's something that you want to do. Like, I'm not putting anybody up to do anything. But I feel like if you rock with me, you rock with me. I've had teachers that have went to bat for me. I didn't ask them to. They came back and said, hey, I did such and such. And I'm like, what? If probably if they had told me they was going to do it, I would have been the person trying to tell them, no, don't do it. But I've had, a teacher, or two to, and sometimes it's good to come from somebody else, because that may be it's a different kind of relationship that they have with certain people.
Yeah.
So they may be able to receive it or see another side from them. So, I think, I think teachers should support each other. But again, I'm not going to fall out with you if you don't. But again, I feel like if we rock together, it's a certain type of loyalty that, I'm expecting you to have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because y'all have done that. I know, at least I know of a couple times where y'all have done that when I was kind of dealing with that, where people were kind of like, what's wrong with this one? And y'all went, and I didn't know anything about it. And I feel like, to me, that's a form of support, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think that
Should I take it back?
No, because I think us coming in, we had a lot to do with how you kind of changed up a lot of the things you did, because we would have conversations and then we would say, well, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Why don't you just tell them no? It's not affecting your job. It's not affecting the kids. You don't have to do this. And I think that us kind of being around you kind of changed up your perspective. But I think teachers have to have an exit plan.
Yes.
You have to have a goal. When you come into teaching, it's very political.
It is.
So if you're trying to go in to be an AP, a principal, if you're trying to retire, then it's a game. It's like Uno. You can't go in playing Monopoly rules with Uno, and vice versa. So if you are trying to become a principal, then there are certain things. Of course, there are certain courses and things that you are supposed to take before you become principal. Right?
Everybody don't have the same path.
In certain counties, from where I've read,
the fast track,
right? The fast track, the speed. No comment. that speed lane, right?
Right.
Everybody's like, wait a minute, you didn't do this part here.
Called out 25.
Yeah, HOD lane.
Yeah.
Right.
The
But
beach pad.
Beach pad. But there are
Sorry.
certain things that you have to do. So if you are trying to become anything, you have to play the game.
Yeah.
So maybe our radicalness is not the way to go because, I don't think any of us, we were there for the kids. We're never there for the people
Yeah.
or, to try to get a specific type of career badge or prize. It's always about the kids, but you have to know what you're in it for. If you're in it to become any, admin, principal,
Whatever it is, yeah.
you gotta play the game.
Yeah.
And the game is to keep your mouth shut, do what they ask you to do. You don't ruffle feathers. You don't question anything. If they have you to go to 100 different PDs, you go, you're the first person there with your notepad and pencil and a smile, and you don't ask questions. You do what they tell you to do. I'm not interested in doing that because I've seen too many teachers suffer, and I don't know my integrity, and I know that there are a lot of teachers, including us, that have integrity, and we can't just sit back and allow for these things to happen and just kind of just turn to the side. Oh, well, I'm trying to be this over here, so screw what you got going on over there. No.
And sometimes
those
they
right
be the
there,
worst,
yes.
the people that got the stuff going on.
Exactly. That's so sad.
And that's what I was gonna say, the
crazy
same
part.
thing. Yes, and because like ulterior motives, like
Doing all that.
and you the crazy, and you
You're the sickest one there.
doing the most dirt.
It's a shame.
But even with when they get their peach pad, that's it.
It's a game.
Yeah, you said exactly when you said that. That's exactly what it is. And you get you get your peach pads, and you are playing. You are playing Monopoly.
Not the peach pad.
You might as well.
You ain't- I mean, it's not always
but it's not just a fast track, but
It's a
stuff having your crap being able to be swept under the rug where someone else's crap could never be, right?
Yeah,
and because
there's no way in the
you're on your
world.
route, and other people are like, yeah, you do
But
this.
it's crazy. I could not ever be a person in leadership and think, okay, my teachers can't go to the bathroom throughout the day.
Yes.
I can't imagine like that's crazy to me.
But they do it at a lot of schools. So someone
That's a basic human
right.
thing to do.
It is. Someone sent me a link to the Georgia codes for like the laws surrounding educators for us, right? Because that's not they don't never hand us the laws surrounding our profession. They hand us they hand us our stuff, but they don't hand us the
Right.
Did you know that only up to elementary school, so pre-K through 5, are the only teachers that are not, that it is illegal to require them to have lunch with their students. That's the group. So middle school and up, so us, you don't need no duty free lunch. They figure your planning period is enough.
But you don't have a planning
we don't.
period.
Can't even eat during planning. How many times I've been told not to eat
And that's when
lunch?
we told you to stop.
I talked to a lady at school, and we were just, we were conversating. She was asking me about my school schedule, and she was like, "You sound as if you sit with your students for lunch." I said, "I do." She was like, "Oh, no, we don't do that."
Was she elementary? Yeah, because some.
She wasn't elementary.
But you know that the principals of your schools determine that. Because when I was substituting, I did not like the substitute elementary school. That was the worst experience of my life. Okay, that first one I was good on that. And after that, I stayed middle and high school. And I kid you not, depending on where you go, you can read it how you want to. It's duty-free lunch. I ain't never been nowhere that I had to eat until anyway.
Well, I just, if I think every teacher, we can always say that we're going to do the bare minimum, but, like Joy said before, it's the relationship with those kids. You're always, as a teacher, going to go above and beyond. So we can get in there and say all day, in my opinion, that we're doing the bare minimum, and that's okay. If you're that teacher that can come to, your contracted hours, and you have to go home, that's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be intimidated by that teacher that's always trying to volunteer to do something, to be thinking that's getting themselves looked at, because sometimes let's just call it what it is. That's what some of us do.
Right.
And so, if you can't volunteer to do this and do that and do this, it's okay.
Right.
And someone be volunteering.
Yeah. And I
They
agree.
still
look crazy.
they stealing, that's just saying.
Exactly. I think I like that. I don't feel like you should be obligated. I don't think administrators or other teachers should chastise or have some unfair requirements on teachers either, on each other. I think it needs to be okay. It should be just fine if I say I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think, because I still go back to one conversation I had. The one time where I'm going to say what's on my heart. I'm going to stick up for myself. The one time, it's not it wasn't the first time, but it was like, it took a lot. I think y'all remember this. It took a lot. I had to pray about that thing for a long time. So, when I said, hey, I'm not, what the preps, the amount of preps that you have us doing right now. Right. It's too, and I pulled the person to the side. I said, hey, this is what I need. It's too much.
Right.
Well, sometimes teachers gotta do what they gotta do at home. What? And I said, well, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is just work my contract out.
Well, you
and
said
I was
too
told,
much, you done lost everything. Everything went down here then.
It's too. I did. When I said too much, it was.
Because it's a part of the game. That's what you said. It's a script. You don't buck the system. It's a script. It's everybody. It's amazing. I've taught at a lot of different schools. I know a lot of different teacher people. I have a lot of teacher friends.
Yeah.
And everybody says the same thing. In an acting world, that's called a script. The director gives you a script. This is what you say. I don't care what the scenario is. I don't care if the paper's falling down behind you. This is what I want you to say on the script.
I don't care if it's on fire.
This is what you say.
Gotcha.
That don't even make sense.
No. I always think it's crazy because you're not even teaching the same kids. Your kids different from my kids, different from your kids. We can't be doing the same thing. We're not ever going to be having the exact same experience either.
Well, the thing of it is, the teacher that advocated for herself or himself, they do way beyond.
Yes.
In the classroom.
And the teachers that don't do.
Right, but the ones that, like George said, go by this script. They ain't give no pushback. So
and that's very true.
Let me get this paper certificate.
Ooh, not teacher of the year because you didn't give me you don't cause me no problems. So if you stir the pot, you don't get nothing.
I mean, when you that's
you get some.
That's really true. If you're the teacher if you are the teacher that
don't you say no too many times now.
Okay. I like to say that I'm kind of one of the teachers that kind of push back, and for the kids, it's not in my contract. You all know I have a garden at the school, and
the school you used to work at.
No, it's the school I currently work at. I think that's okay.
The garden's a good thing. Yeah.
The garden is a positive thing. I don't think
everything you do is positive. First of all,
okay.
Well, so
trying to help.
While during spring break, while everybody was spring breaking, I was the one coming up to the garden maintaining it. So that the kids can have, something
to come back
to grow, something that they can have. And, I think nutrition is very important.
Yeah,
so despite, whatever my pushback would be for whatever, I want the kids to have a good experience with growing food and knowing how to do it. But I don't think that that's in my contract to tend to a garden, to be the only person out there in the rain tending to a garden.
Well, this is what we do.
And this is what we do because we love the kids.
That's right.
Here I am
picking up cheerleaders. That's not
get
within my
ready
contract.
to go see one of my little
Yeah.
student friends have a piano recital. But,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah,
A Saturday evening.
that's
you know.
okay. How many
Yeah.
softball
I
games
didn't
have we
get Cinco
gone
de
to?
Mayo, so I'm, might try to
Cinco piano.
sing it today. But,
You're out with your
Say
I'm,
to my
I'm going to support today. So, I mean.
But you see,
That's how it's supposed to
it's
be.
important and it matters to you, and you know
Mhm.
that you know the impact it is when our students. There's too many times we've been to basketball games, children thing,
Yeah.
football. I've been to a football
Everything.
game,
Everything.
7-on-7
Birthday
chant.
party.
Yes, everything showing up, cash apping. I don't see me no more doggone. Don't see me no
Paying
more
for
damn
clothes,
requests.
buying
Okay,
clothes for
snacks,
kids.
need snack for this, buying clothes. This, but we do that from your heart. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because that's not in the contract. Nowhere in the
Mhm.
contract says I need to be the parent.
So it's not in the contract, right? So when you feel like I'm not doing something that's unpleasant or not pleasing to you, you don't remember those things that I did. It's not in the
Speak on
contract.
Speak on it. They forget all of that other stuff. You
Yeah,
forget
yeah.
all the games that they.
Because
I
don't
ain't seen no
ask
admins
for
and none of them
these-
games I've been to.
I don't ask for any accolades.
No, you don't.
Simple thank you.
I don't think we've ever even outside of this conversation, really. I can't think of a time where we publicly said, "Oh, look what we've done." I know that
Oh,
we
God,
get in our
no.
chat and we're like, "Okay, such and such got
But-
this going on. Who can make it? If y'all can't make it, I'll
Right.
go." Because
Right.
in our minds, it's who can be there. It's not a
Right.
question of will we be there.
And we're not
It's
looking
let's
for
just do
prizes
it.
or this
Yes.
is
No, we're
something
not.
we naturally. That's
It's
I'm
the
saying,
quiet givers.
We talk about it here because it's on
It's relevant,
it's
right.
our podcast platform, but
You don't even. You're right. We're
We don't
not
tell nobody
tripping
at our
about it, but
school.
don't.
Schools.
I do too much for you to come talk to me crazy.
Yeah,
That's all
I
I'm
think
saying.
that's what it, exactly.
That's all
People,
I'm
when they
saying.
talk about building relationships on correct behavior, well, I was at such and such basketball game and they still can't show their tail. So relationship building ain't the problem. We gotta find relationship. Maybe something wrong with the rest of them.
well, we build relationships fine with the kids. I think what teachers are saying across the county is the relationships that they may have with other people, other adults. The breakdown in that, because once again, it's not always about the kids.
No.
It's a game. It's a political
Mhm.
game. Not at all schools, but at a lot of schools across the county. It's about who can you not upset.
Yeah. And I even say I always tell my kids every year, you don't have to like me. We don't have you're a person, I'm a person, and I don't like every person I've ever met. And just because I'm the teacher you're assigned to and you're the student assigned to me does not mean that our personalities are going to go together. But what I always promise is I will respect you and I will give you the best that I can give you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have yet to find a student that I'm just like, I dislike this kid no matter what. I can find something that I love about every single student that I've taught, no matter what we've been through. And it may have taken us longer to build a
I
relationship.
don't know about that now. That's a stretch.
You know, but it's been a lot. Maybe I don't remember them. But
Well.
still, I just don't think, I think that teachers, when we say bare minimum, I think what is really being said is let whatever I'm doing, let that be sufficient. And that's it. Don't be tripping if I do something different.
Well, we definitely want you guys to join this conversation. How do you feel about teachers doing the bare minimum? And when we say doing the bare minimum, we're talking about what they're contracted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Teachers, tap in. Parents, tap in. Anybody, tap in. Join the conversation.
Yeah.
We are glad that you tuned in to our podcast. You can hit us up on all platforms as the
Real Teachers of Atlanta.
We out there.
Bye. Bye.